Good morning. We are out here detailing the interior of this Honda CR-V, and it's really not looking too dirty, but definitely a little bit of scrubbing is going to need to be done on the seats. They do have a dog. There's not a ton of dog hair, but there is a bit of dirt. So yeah, let's check this out and let's get to work. All right, y'all, listen up, because I'm about to spill some really good business information if you own a business. But this is something my students literally pay me for, okay? They literally pay me and work with me every single week in my coaching program to get this information. But when you're in business, you literally have got to be your own PR person. I'm talking about you have got every conversation that you have has got to be about your business in one way or another. And when you do that, that is when people get attracted to you. And that's how I got this client right here. We went and picked up a bike rack off of Facebook Marketplace, and the guy was like, oh, my wife gets details. I'll give her your information. Boom, immediately. She's like, sign me up. But I want to share some tips in this video about some things that I've learned as a beginner detailer who had no experience from the start. Now, the first thing is, when you're detailing an SUV, know that all of these seats in one way or another fold down. And look at that. Look at all the dog hair and all the dirt that's trapped underneath there. Anytime I'm detailing an SUV, the very first thing I do is I fold those seats down and I get rid of all of the debris, the dirt, the hair, whatever it is that's on the back of those SUV seats, whether it's the second row or the third row. And that is just gonna save me time from it blowing everywhere else later in the detail. So when I folded these seats down, I noticed that there's a lot of dog hair kind of trapped in the seats here. And the funny thing is, now that I'm thinking about it afterwards, she made a comment to me, because I know she gets her vehicle detailed, but she made a comment to me about she's never had it detailed like this. That was her specific words, and I didn't really think too much into it. But now that I'm actually detailing it, I'm noticing there's hidden dirt and crumbs and dog hair in so many places that, you know, those quick detailers never would have even looked at.
What do you charge on a pickup? 500?
Same price, honestly.
Well, when you see this farmer pickup, you might charge 500.
That bad. I know dog hair is usually the only thing, surprisingly, regardless of like clean or dirty. Take a peek?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, similar amount of time, believe it or not, because I still go over every ounce of the surface. Do you want the seats like extracted or just like cleaned? Just dusted. Yeah.
Doesn't have to be shiny.
Yeah, it's honestly the same price because it ends up being... I know y'all will probably see this vehicle and be like, oh my God, that'd be $400. And hey, you do you. But what I've noticed is it doesn't matter if it's a clean vehicle or a super filthy vehicle. It literally takes me the same amount of time. And honestly, sometimes these dirty vehicles take even less time because they're not expected to look perfect. So when I'm looking at this vehicle, I gave him an extra $50 charge because I'm like, all right, there's probably going to be some dog hair that's going to be embedded in there and take a little extra time. And honestly, it's probably only going to take an extra 30, 40 minutes. Other than that, this vehicle is literally going to take me the same amount of time that the SUV I'm doing right now takes, simply because I go through every single vehicle with the same attention to detail. So it literally takes me the same amount of time, whether it's a clean car or a dirty car. And trucks are just really easy to clean. The seats fold up, the space is big, you can get in and under everything. Other than a Dodge Ram, Dodge Rams, they love all their crazy amounts of storage, but a Chevy, it's such a basic vehicle, and I would just take this and just scrub it down. I did a construction truck just like this a couple weeks back, and it took me by myself 4 hours on the dot. So this, I gave him a quote of $250, and I'm okay with that because I know this is still going to be a 3.5 to 4 hour detail. Maybe not even that with 2 of us. Have a good one. When I first started detailing, I used to try to vacuum to perfection. And then I started to realize that no matter what you do, you always have to vacuum again. And those people that say they only do one vacuum, well, you must be doing pristine vehicles, or you just don't have the same attention to detail that I can't help but have. And that's totally fine, but I do end up having to vacuum a few times throughout my details. So what I try to do is just do like a brief vacuuming, like kind of get the heavy stuff up and kind of blow as much that I can that's like deep under the seats or in the sides of the seats, and really get that out and try to clean that up as much as possible. But I don't do a deep vacuum any longer. I just kind of do a quick surface and a quick blowout. When I'm working on my own, I typically do the back seat and then I do the front seats. But because Adam's working on the door jambs over there and we try to stay out of each other's way, what I do is one side at a time. So I'm doing the full driver's side, I do the back, try to blow everything forward, and then I do the front. And I always work, and I'll say this later again, but I always try to work top to bottom. So I make sure before I start vacuuming the floors, I'm going to blow out the glove box and the center console with the cup holders along with the seats. And then I'm going to also try to get to the sides of the seats in between the console and kind of like the door and the door jambs here, and try to blow that out and vacuum up as much as I can of the loose dirt and debris. I also blow out the doors, because what's going to happen is if you don't do that first, it's going to all end up on the floor and just make another mess. I'm also going to fold those seats all the way back, and I'm going to get deep into the crevices there, because a lot of sand, dirt, crumbs, it gets all up in there. Sorry, this blows all your way right now.
Eating it on the jam.
I've gotten questions about this air gun tool in some of my previous videos, and this is literally just a $5 air gun nozzle, air gun, what do you even call it, from Harbor Freight. So $5, Harbor Freight, go get you one. It's gonna help you really concentrate that air into a really narrow tube that can get into tight crevices that the Tornador cannot get into. When I first started detailing, I did all the research I could possibly do because I knew nothing about it, and I was using microfiber towels to clean for the longest time. And finally, you guys introduced me to the Scrub Ninja. So if you're new to detailing and you're not using a Scrub Ninja, go get you some Scrub Ninjas. They even make them in mitts now. So the thing is, when you're just using the pad, the typical pad, so often it just flips out of your hand, like all the time. So they make a new mitt that you can actually put your hand in, so you're not dropping it all the time. But these things create a really good foam and agitation, so it's really gonna lift that dirt out of there better than any microfiber towel can do. I then go after scrubbing and I wipe it down with the microfiber towel to get all of that product off of there. I say I'm that girl that gets every nitty gritty detail, yes, I am doing under the seats as well, and I'm cleaning and protecting these plastics as well. I don't know if you guys do that, if you get that detailed. I tend to get into every crevice just because the last thing I want for my own mental well-being is for somebody to go and lift their seats and see that it's filthy under there. I did this one time completely by accident. I forgot to lift one of the seats in a 4Runner, and it was, of course, a dog groomer's vehicle. So it was a disaster. Not a dog groomer, a dog trainer. So she had dogs in her vehicle all the time, and it was full of hair and dirt, and it was a 100-degree day, and she made me come back, which totally fine, totally reasonable. But I'm that girl that will get every crevice because the last thing I want is to upset a customer or have them want me come back to do something that wasn't done. So I clean it all. This is one of my favorite ways I've found to clean the air vents, especially if they're not super dirty, but dirty. So I take a little bit of product, all-purpose cleaner, and right now I've been using Meguiar's APC, and spray it onto the detail brush, and then scrub the vents. Then I'll wipe the excess off a little bit, and then just use the Tornador with some air to blow away the rest. And keep in mind, a lot of these center consoles, they will slide forward. So you want to slide that forward to make sure you clean under that as well. I think the hardest part of being a newer detailer is learning all of the ins and outs of every single vehicle. Like, how do the seats move forward? How do you keep a Tesla from turning on? You know, all these little compartments that are hidden, especially when it comes to like Dodge Rams, like I said earlier. But learning how all of these vehicles maneuver and operate is definitely the trickiest thing. I've had the GoPro on my head all morning, so don't mind my forehead, but these overalls from Duluth Trading Company are the bomb. So I ordered these this year. You guys had asked to see them, and these are them. And they're their gardening bibs. And they're awesome because they have all of these pockets intended for gardening. They have an insert for knee pads. They're awesome, and they're pretty cool. I don't think I would be able to wear them like really when it gets to be 100 degrees out, but maybe. When it comes to the seat rails, one of my favorite things to do without really affecting the grease that's in there is to just spray a little bit of all-purpose cleaner and use the Tornador, and it will blow out everything that's dirty and in there without having to get grease on your rags or really affect the grease that is meant to be in the rails.
What phone number do you want me to call you?
This lady was super sweet. She was just ready to promote me to the entire neighborhood. Now that the initial kind of deep vacuum, surface vacuum is done, anytime I'm using the air compressor to blow out dirt from here on out, I'm going to be sticking the vacuum nozzle in there, and that's just going to help pick up more dirt rather than spread it all over the place. Another detailing tip that took me the longest time to figure out or even discover as a new detailer was that the vacuum works 1,000 times better when you utilize it sideways and not forward and backwards. Also, before doing door jams, I tend to blow everything out with the air compressor first, especially with the hatchbacks, because the hatchbacks tend to collect a lot of leaves and debris. And so when you blow it out first, it makes it that much easier when you then go through with the water and agitation. You know, there's a couple rules. There's like a hair here. A couple rules I follow detailing very strictly. One of those is if you take it out of the detail van, you put it back as soon as you're done with it. Guess who didn't do that? So today we do not have a drill brush. And then he just realized he used my pressure washer gun and didn't put that back either. Luckily, you can get by without these things. It's just more manual labor, but key tip as a beginner or a newbie or anyone with a mobile style business, if you use something from the business, put it back immediately. So I started using Superior Dark Fury. Well, I've been using it from day one for bug and tar, but now I started using it on floor mats and door jams. And y'all, let me tell you, it is a life changer on the floor mats. It works so good. Prior to that, I was using Super Clean or an all-purpose cleaner, but let me tell you, that Dark Fury doesn't mess around. It is so good. When it comes to the steering wheel, I treat it much like I treat the air vents. So I spray a little bit of all-purpose cleaner on my brush, but then I'm going to wipe off the excess onto a microfiber towel. Then I'm going to take the brush and agitate around the buttons. Guys, I was just reading all of my comments, and y'all don't like the way I say buttons. So the buttons, and yeah, just kind of agitate in between there, and that's naturally going to pull out a lot of the dirt and grease and grime that sits in there, and then just kind of wipe it away with the microfiber cloth and then spray it with the Tornador with some air, and yeah, it comes out so good. I do always clean the spare tire area when it comes to SUVs, just because so much dirt and dog hair gets trapped in there once again. So I like to leave a car as dust-free and dirt-free as possible. So I do pull that cover off, I pull it out, I clean it, I clean every crevice surrounding it, and I do a brief vacuuming and air compression of the actual tire compartment. The fabulous thing about being mobile is that it's not fabulous. It's the generator wouldn't start today, first time ever. So that is one thing I have started doing a long time ago, was bringing an extra heavy duty extension cord. And then we didn't have the drill brush. And then Adam forgot the pressure washer gun. And I forgot to pack all my towels. Oh, luckily I still had plenty left in the van, but forgot to pack all my towels. And then as we went to leave, my car battery was dead. I've been living in town now. I'm not used to that, and so I rarely drive, and so I think my vehicle never gets driven, so my battery never has a chance to recharge until I detail. But all in all, this detail came out great. Adam finished up the windows, put the floor mats in, and the client was so happy. She said, like I said earlier, she's never had a detail quite like this. The keys are left in the car, and I always get paranoid that the doors are going to lock, and I'm going to lock the keys in the car. So yeah, I ended up making sure that all the doors were unlocked and closed everything up. Hi, cutie pie. You're so cute. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, you're so cute. You're so cute. Yes, you too. You too. That's a wrap.